This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains no spoilers, but mentions of various books we love, including the Plated Prisoner series, ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, and Shadowhunters, to name a few. For full list, please see our show notes. There's also brief discussions surrounding alcoholism and DDs.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the YA literature and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I am Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing what we are thankful for. Thankful for in books, in quotes. We're thankful for you and
it's one of the reasons we've been asking on our Instagram stories, like just open-ended. We want you to be a part of this conversation because there's so many. There's even books that people are thankful for that we received in our DMs, hadn't even heard of. So it's going to be fun to share all that with, everybody who's listening, and even the quotes, because I feel like all the quotes that we've received, they impact all of us in a different way.
It's really exciting, and we want to say thank you to everyone for participating, and it's just really wonderful to have some fan interaction. Also, we have something very special about this episode.
We're recording for the first time together. We've never been in the same vicinity. But our editor and sound engineer, they were like, we're kind of worried that you two are going to be too excited. So they've made us move into different rooms of the house. So I'm in Laura's office and she's upstairs.
I'm upstairs where I normally record. Yeah, and Jess is in the office / guest room, which is very cozy. It's very nice.
I love it. We've been having coffee in the morning downstairs. You know that this time last year we were recording our episodes for our intro in Crescent City and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So to kind of kick this off, how about we have quotes and books in little bowls next to us. How about we start off the episode with each of us reading one, and then Jess, I know that you are very excited to tell us all about a very special book, so we'll get to that right after.
Okay.
So this is a book that someone is thankful for, and they are thankful for Guild. And you know what? Same.
It's hard not to be thankful for Guild because I feel like despite everybody kind of going into it not realizing the trigger warnings that might be there, the payoff thus far has been totally worth it.
The payoff is absolutely fantastic. I mean, but you have to get there, So we're thankful, I would say, for the journey. But thank you for that submission. That's wonderful.
And then one of the quotes, it is, "Beauty, my sweet child, is often unbroken and barbed and always unexpected."
Oh, that's lovely.
I like it because I think just in life in general, it has to be unexpected because this is coming from a control freak, and everybody, including my therapist, is like, "Oh, you're trying to be controlling." I go, "No, that's not what this is." And even Laura will say, "What can't you control?" And that's what you're fixating on. Because it's how do you control life? You could really only control your own actions. So it makes life unexpected.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who submitted. Now, Jess, tell us about this book that you are thankful for.
Okay. I think I might have mentioned it in the past, but I think just through almost a year of recording, it reminded me of the first I'll say specifically fantasy book that really got me into reading. And it was Bruce Coville's Into the Land of the Unicorns. And I'm just going to read the synopsis. I don't know if anybody has read it. It's definitely a middle grade book. If you're looking for something light, but adventure, I basically, I don't even remember the details. I just remember that I reread it constantly. So the synopsis says, as each chime sounds, Kara climbs faster up the steep bell tower. 11. She must be on the roof when the next bell tolls. 12. With a deep breath and only half believing she will survive, Kara jumps off the church roof and into Luster, land of the unicorns. In Luster, Kara meets many wonderful creatures, but the most magnificent of all is Lightfoot, a rebellious young unicorn. Kara's band of friends comes to include a hairy creature named Dimbletham and the monkey-like Squinjim. Together, they set out to reach the unicorn queen before the mysterious man who is following them does, to prevent the destruction of all unicorns forever. And I remember reading like the first couple chapters. She gets to the bell tower, and then like her grandmother says, you just have to jump and trust. That was it. I mean, I'm ready to go onto eBay and find this book and own the copy, because I forgot how much that impacted me as a kid. And there was no series at the time, or maybe there was, and my library only had the one. But that book I would still reread today, because it was just about a girl and her unicorn and an adventure, and she had a trust in her grandmother because somebody was after her.
Sold. That sounds awesome.
Maybe we cover it on an episode.
Yeah, maybe we do. Ooh, maybe we do.
Laura's like, not so much. I'm not gonna hurt your feelings since you have a drink in your hand.
Oh no, I am very interested in that. Okay, so that is a book that Jess is thankful for. A book that I am thankful for is, and I have all these like with me. This is, oh my gosh, this is The China Garden by Liz Berry. I'm going to hold it up.
Oh, that's the book that was falling apart when you showed it to me.
It's falling apart. I'm going to hold it up to the camera so that, maybe Jess can use this footage, but look at it.
And it's not
look
because,
at it.
I mean, yes, because it's old, but it's mostly because of how often you read it.
Thump was her. That thump was the chapters. This is chapter 6 that just came completely out of it. Like it's oh my God. But it's so good. It's set in England. Girl has to leave London and live on an estate. There's magic. There's like, I don't know. It's really good. I had never heard of it. I found it in like a used bookstore. I don't know like the did you date on this either.
Did you find it in a used bookstore when you were younger, or recently? Oh,
no. When I was a kid, I found it in a used bookstore. This is
the original one that you found.
Yeah. But I could not tell you.
So one of the things that Laura's still going through is her stuff is still in the middle of the ocean, as we know, with some, we can't say all, because of supply chain management issues. Laura's moving from Germany, as we know, and she's back in the States. However, her stuff is not here with her.
It's been difficult. It's been difficult without the stuff. I'm not going to lie.
But she also has a bunch of the stuff that she put in storage here before she moved over to Europe. And that's where she's like, her whole book collection is just a fraction of it is coming together because she's had it in storage here in the States for the last 5+ years.
It's awesome, and I really can't wait to share it. I have specifically an excellent collection of middle grade chapter books that I'm just dying to share. So Jess, let's go ahead. Yeah,
next. So we'll do quote book this time. So yeah. I'll pull the quotes. Mm-hmm. All right. The next quote is, we got this a few times. To the stars that listen and the dreams that are answered.
Well, we all know what that is, where it's from, and what that means to us. That is very special, don't you think?
I mean, everything about ACOTAR is special. I mean, it's something that I'm thankful for. You brought it back. You brought this side of reading back into my life. I mean, ACOFAE is my favorite. Is like one of my favorite books, if not my favorite book of all time. Yeah. I'll never shit on it. I don't care. I know there's like a part of like hate book talk and hate Instagram that wants to like crap on it, but there are also a lot of good things that came out of it, and that's one of them.
Yeah, there's so many good things that came out of it, but that's not what this is about.
That's a different conversation.
That's not what this is about. All right, moving on. Okay, I've got a book. What do I have? I have ACOTAR. This is so funny. ACOTAR. ACOTAR literally made me see that love didn't need to be toxic and that I deserve more. And being thankful for it. That's wonderful. See, this is exactly what we were talking about.
And that's, I think we briefly touched on that in our ACOMAF episode too, of like going, looking, I think even the ACOTAR episode that you said, you're like, this is a court of red flags and regret. And just all the learnings that you do when you're reflective on that series up until like, everybody handles their different traumas differently. And to see it from somebody else's point of view is sometimes that's what you need to be reflective and like, wait a second, figuring out your own traumas through reading.
And rereading. I think that's the beauty of ACOTAR.
Growth. Because I think that's another one of the things, we've spoken about it before, where you have like the actual YA audience reading this and then reading it as an adult. It's like, oh, children, like if you thought you loved it, wait till you go through it,
Which I think is a really good segment to a book that you and I both really are thankful for. And this is, of course, Blood and Chocolate by Annette Curtis Claus. I'll hold it up. Look at that. Blood and Chocolate. Look at that cover. The
library had it. I was so surprised because isn't it from the 90s or something?
Oh, my goodness.
I needed a palate cleanser. And I won't say which book I needed a palate cleanser from, but I just need something to wipe it fresh and I could start on to the next one. And you said Blood and Chocolate. And then I looked at it and I go, Laura, and it's a shifter book. It's a shifter YA fantasy book. I had never read shifters.
You missed out on the middle school,
but solely shifters. Like I've had shifters with vampires, I know shifters in Bitten, but the actual solely shifter book, I had never read.
It's good. The book is good. It's weirdly like 90s.
And angsty, like it's all angsty. The typical teenage angst. Nobody had cell phones or beepers. So I thought it was funny when she would just get upset and they would just like run around town in their full forms.
Yeah, they were just like angsty and nothing to
You're
do.
You're going to be with one of these boys from our pack. And she's like, fuck all y'all.
It's good. The movie, though,
there was a movie?
There's a movie.
There's the Bulgarian movie or something.
Yeah. The movie is not great, but if you don't watch it thinking about the book, then maybe it's fine, but I can't separate. It's the same fucking title. Okay. Anyway, I'm ranting.
And it's the whole book versus movie.
Yeah, and the book is obviously
99,
better.
well, except for The Devil Wears Prada, and yes. I am happy to have a whole episode on that.
Well, good. Yes, good. Jess, what book are you thankful for?
Another book I'm thankful for is The Babysitters Club. And I say this because in probably previous episodes, we, from shifting from what I used to read and what's available out there now for like with a target audience of female YA readers, we didn't have these strong heroines, but I loved Sweet Valley High, and I was the oldest and I was always the babysitter, and then I would like babysit my like neighbors' kids. So like I've been hustling since day one basically, and a lot of the stuff that I would read at the Babysitters Club, I would be, I'm going to add that and integrate it into when I babysit. So like, of course kids want me to keep coming back. I don't know. In hindsight, it was definitely looking more at it like a business model for myself.
Well, that's on brand for you.
I mean, but like respect that you had this group of girls who said, this is our availability. Let's all basically have our dues, just like in a sorority, to cover like your costs. Like I remember they asked their parents' permission for a phone line because, nobody had private phones back when these books were written. So they would all pitch into whatever they were earning babysitting. They had a flat rate. So no matter who it was like equal pay, you know, which was wonderful. And yeah. And then their dues would pay for that cell phone and the answering machines, like all of that. They would just say, okay, this. And they basically babysat the entire town all through like middle school and high school. I don't know. I think it, you know, I'm surprised that doesn't exist now. It probably does, but it's like, I don't know, more pretentious and for like nannies.com for au pairs for the Upper East Side moms and stuff.
You were doing a little research on this. You discovered something about these.
No, not this series, because this is a different author.
But you're doing research and in like middle grade books. And what did you discover?
I was so bummed when I found out that Francine Pascal, she does Fearless, which Laura has spoken about before, and Sweet Valley Senior Year, which is another series that I was going to say I'm thankful for, that she's a ghostwriter. Laura was at a concert and I had to like interrupt her Dave Matthews like vibe to be like, what is going on? What do you mean? She's a ghostwriter.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And like a team of ghostwriters write these books. Like it's just wild. But that's a perfect pivot to another book that I am thankful for, which is like her name is on this book. Like, yeah, right there. Francine Pascal.
I would not like. So what is it that she just became? And maybe I just didn't do enough research that it's just her as a person is now like a company, and she just like sublets her name out to the ghostwriters, because that's like I don't want to say it's a problem, but I know that there are some rumblings amongst the book community that some authors, popular and not, use ghostwriters, which, okay, to each their own. But sometimes the ghostwriters are so much better than the author's name, where I just go, well, how can I support the ghostwriter? Because I really like what they're giving me.
Yeah, no, and that is really true, because there are at least 16 in this Fearless series. This is number 2. This is Sam.
Oh, that's the individual person.
Yeah, the individual title of book number 2 in Fearless is called Sam. These books fucking slap. They're so good. They're like, they're not even 200 pages. They're so engaging and they're so fast paced, but there are so many. And there's even like a section where she like goes off and like has a job. So I can totally understand the ghostwriter situation. And also, and Jess, you and I talked about this the other day, there's a movie out there called A Young Adult, and it is about a ghostwriter, and she goes to the bookstore to sign her books that she wrote, because her name's in it, like, you know, and under like the title or whatever. But the employee at the bookstore says, like, I have to throw these books out. They're like garbage now because like you're not the like main author on like the outside cover. So nobody knows who this is. And you basically just like defaced store property. It was like this whole thing. So like, it's a weird thing. And I think that might be something that we should like dive into a little bit.
Or like become more, I don't want to say aware of, but do more research.
That
would be, because we have a friend who was looking at copyright and ghostwriting. And that essentially is what it is. You're basically signing an NDA to say like, here's my creative liberties, you own them now. But yeah, it's an interesting concept to dive into. You want to do next other books that we're thankful for?
I do.
All right, go first.
Okay, go first. Me, I am, let's see, The Well Digger's Daughter is a book that someone is thankful for. I have not read this. I believe I've heard talking about it. I believe my mother was talking about it.
And it's also it's a movie. It was made into a movie.
Ooh, that might have been why, actually. That is really wonderful. Thank you for submitting. I need to do a little bit of research into that. Because if it changed your life and you're thankful for it, then I bet that I could probably get something out of it. So thank you so much for bringing that to our attention.
And another quote that we're thankful for is, we had this submission a couple times too, is don't let the hard days win.
And, you know, epic, iconic, classic.
I just like that it's a reminder for all of us that like you know, it gets better. This isn't like, yeah, today sucks, but, you know, if this is the worst the day can get, you know, tomorrow, just go to sleep. Sometimes it's just like, you know, when people say, oh, I just want to restart the day. No, I don't want to go through that shit again. On to the next. Flash forward till tomorrow.
Another book that I am thankful for, and Jess, I know that you're thankful for it too, is Weetzie Bat. Weetzie Bat by Francesca Leah Block. I've talked about this before on TikTok, and I think in some episodes and like on Instagram Live and stuff. Weetzie Bat is such a good book. You will get more out of it than you think you will. It is only 113 pages. This one that I have, this version is very small. She's wee. It's lovely. It's lyrical. It's gorgeous. The background says transcendent, shimmering, magnificent, sparkling.
And wasn't it from the 80s?
Yes, and it's original. It is original.
So, and one of the things I remember you said, just read this, like, I want to hear what your take on the vibe is. And I was just so excited, I guess is the word you could say, to see a book ahead of its time and the subject matter that it took, and how it was integrated during this time, because it's definitely like, I don't want to say taboo, but I guess at the time it would have been considered taboo of some of the subjects that book takes on.
Oh, definitely. And if you are interested in Weetzie Bat, maybe like check on it, check your trigger warnings and stuff. Not that it's like terrible, but, you know, just be aware, you know, don't go in blind. So Jess, what are you thankful for?
Well, I've said our books. I mean, I'm thankful for the podcast. I know that sounds cheesy, but I feel like between, like, of course, Laura always knows I'm thankful for her. But the podcast in general, I mean, it's brought so many people into our lives. We get to share this thing together. We get to discuss everything. It's definitely been something, I mean, the pandemic alone, like, I'm sure people are tired of discussing it, as are we, living through it. And I think that it's kind of kept us on track, despite some of like the things that we have going on in our lives in a personal matter and how that might have affected us. And I'm really grateful for that, because you know, it's so easily you could spiral in other ways. And this has definitely kept me focused between work and between life. And I'm really thankful for it, because I don't know, you know, just having a focus makes a big difference for me.
A focus and an outlet and a way to like expand your horizons, but like still stay safe, right?
Yeah,
that's what books are.
Yeah, and I think you say it perfectly with expanding our horizons, because this wouldn't have happened if I wasn't willing to go outside of my comfort zone. Because like I've always done the romance and the contemporary fiction, and I really love that this has just become so much deeper than we get to talk about subjects that are important to us that we might not necessarily be able to integrate into daily conversations based on our professions, or that like people care to listen to us.
Well, you have such a good, like, sweet answer. I'm sitting here. I have a book written by a 14-year-old author about vampires.
See, no, that's a good answer, because at 14, I was basically writing my own maladaptive daydreaming in a journal. I really hope when my parents threw out all my shit, like, that was in there and they never read that.
This book is In the Forest of the Night by Amelia Atwater Rhodes. This came out in 1999. This is her debut novel. It's really debut novel. There, I got it. She was 14. She has like a bunch of other books. She has other series. She's very active on Twitter now. You know, she was 14 in like 99, whatever. It's really good. It's very, you know, she's 14 and you can tell, but it's good. And the series is good.
You know what? Good for her for getting published at 14.
Gosh, it's really something. And her picture is on the paperback that I have actually downstairs by you, but it's very atmospheric. It's pretty intense. So, Jess, do you have more books that you are thankful for?
I mean, I will say my current, I feel like I'm going to be basic, because I'm like, the books that I'm currently thankful for are Throne of Glass and Akamath, and basically everything that you've introduced me to, but those two were so absolutely pivotal in the last year that like literally my biology changed. So,
yeah, this is true. This is true.
Just, if you know, you know. If you don't, feel free to TM us and ask, I guess. I'll be honest. But yeah, I didn't know books can affect you. Like fantasy, like YA books can be so impactful. Like I know there are problematic things to say. There is technically a problematic thing to say about every single person you encounter in life, because genuinely we're not perfect. And if you think you are, no matter how much good and work and awareness you're doing in the world, if you think you are the end all be all, then you might need some reevaluation in your life. But that being said, these books I didn't know books could make you feel like that. I think the last book that I cried to the first time I read, A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. Like I was in the bathroom crying. I was at my family's vacation house and I couldn't let them know I was doing one of those like 3 a.m. still up reading things. And I remember that being a book I sobbed at. And also the book is very different from the movie. Like the general storyline is the same, but the book is very different in the movie, and then they're both good in their own right. But yeah, Sarah, I am thankful. I'm thankful for her. You know, I'm thankful for allowing, and I'm thankful for Laura for showing, bringing me into this world.
I have a quick question. Are you thankful for Clockwork Princess?
I knew you were gonna fucking ask that. I was gonna be like, do I not answer this or no? Our Clockwork Princess episode will not be out by the time that this is recording. We recorded that before Thanksgiving episode. I will say, unfortunately, yes, because I didn't know another author could impact me emotionally outside of Sarah.
And when we say impact you emotionally, we mean...
I have not been able to stop crying for 2 weeks now, and I equated it to Laura. Laura, we were sitting on the couch, like, what was it, Saturday? And I started crying again because I can't fucking talk about this book without tearing up. You know how some people talk, you know, some mothers, new mothers, will leak breast milk when they hear a baby crying. I equated talking about Clockwork Princess and Tessa and Will Herondale and Jem Carstairs as anytime they're brought up, my eyes just start leaking and I don't know what to do.
It's just it's a response.
It's like and I tell Laura, is there going to be a time in my life where I'll just be able to stop thinking about it? And her first answer was no, because that now you're just sitting on all that information and you just start spiraling. So if you don't just cover it in a surface topic level sort of way, then you can't appreciate it because you just spiral and that's literally been, because then I'll be like, oh, these are so funny because Laura's trying to like pull me out of my despair with these characters. And then she'll send me, she's like, funny, sob, me. These are all like memes and Tumblr posts and fan art, and it's just I can't even say beautiful right now without thinking of Tessa and being like, beautiful. You are beautiful, James Carstairs. And I just like mess on the floor. And the only reason I'm laughing right now probably is because I've had 2 drinks.
Mess. So Jess is thankful for Clockwork Princess. Let's find out what one of our listeners is thankful for. One of our listeners is thankful for...
one of our followers said they all make me so happy.
Oh, okay.
We don't have to. I think that was before we were like, we want to leave everybody have some anonymity. So they just felt like what they shared with us didn't have to feel tagged to the world.
Okay. Well, thank you. You make us so happy.
Okay, so I said Clockwork Princess. We had a favorite quote, a thankful quote. What is another thing you're thankful for?
I'm thankful for the book Wait Till Helen Comes.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a story behind this. So when I was in middle school, I lived in Detroit. And in Detroit, I went to Catholic school. And I loved to read. And the teachers brought my mom and dad in because I was checking out...
This is the book.
I was checking out ghost stories and like scary stories to tell in the dark and like witch books and all that stuff. And they thought that I was like a witch, right? Like, and my parents had to sit me down and say like, look, we had to talk to the principal, who became my mom's like best friend after this. We had to talk to the principal, and they said that like, you are interested in like weird, scary stuff. And my dad was sitting there and he was trying to keep it together. He was trying to be the good, and he lost it.
He's trying to be like a united front with mom.
He lost it. He started like belly laughing. He was like, this is such fucking bullshit. Like, oh my, it was so funny. He just couldn't take it seriously. He's like, just let her read whatever she wants to read. And that is probably where this like came, Okay, but this is the book. This is the one that, because it's
that was the one where the school was like, that's it. We're calling the parents.
Because, do you remember in middle school you had to read books and then take the tests on them, like on the computer? Okay, well, I could, at the time, you could open this book at any point and I could tell you, like, and you could read it to me and I could tell you the next line. Like, I knew all of it.
But a lot of those books are so formulaic.
I know.
It's like whenever, what was I reading recently? And it wasn't even in romantic instances. I think it was one of the JLA books that are based out of like Pennsylvania or West Virginia or something. And one of the lines was, the trope of she hitched a breath. She let out a breath. She didn't know she was holding. That was throughout the thing. And it had like, there was also like the male character would do that too. And it wasn't in reference for each other. It was like usually just an like sighs of relief. But I feel like that's why it would be so you knew what the next line would be. It's just like whenever you're watching a rom-com or like reading something where the next line is going to be, but she's not you, or he's not you. You just know. They're tropes for a reason.
But like adults didn't know, so they thought it was weird. So they, brought me in. Okay. Jez, what is a quote that someone is thankful for?
Let's see. Ooh, this is a longer one. Maybe. I just can't read my. Okay. She was strength and darkness equally well. The girl has always been half goddess, half hell. I don't know where that quote came in, but I don't know where it's from.
I don't either, but it is.
But now I'm intrigued.
Wonderful.
Right?
Yeah, now I love it.
Now it's like, is it just a general quote, like a life quote that you're like, or is it like a quote from a book where we're like, okay, well, tell us the book. And I'm going to feel really bad if we've read the book and we just don't remember the line.
I don't think so, because it rhymes too. I feel like I would have picked up on that. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for submitting that. I have one more book that I am thankful for, and then I think we can go...
How do I have a whole bowl of quotes left?
Well, and then I think we can go right to quotes and then listener questions.
Oh, yes. You still have the bowl. You're talking about your own personal books. So
this is When We Were Gods. This is by Colin Falconer. I have read this over and over again. Our friend of the show, Rachel, she has read this. When we were in Earth Science High School in class, she sat behind me and we read this because her name was in it and she thought it was cool. It's about Cleopatra, and it's about Cleopatra and Julius Caesar and Mark Antony and how how the story goes. And it's really, really good, I thought, even though it's like written by a man, whatever, but I've read it a million times and there's beautiful, beautiful quotes in it. And I find it difficult to like read the end. And it's just great. It's great.
It's, you saying that triggered this 8th grade memory from me. There was a series called, and it was all middle grade. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at Google now. And they're like going for $63. There was a series called The Royal Diaries. And it was basically like the princess, like diaries of royal, like female royalty. And there was one called The Princess Diaries, Cleopatra the 7th, daughter of the Nile. And it was basically like her, like it was her writing it was like a prequel to like her life now, like the life we've come to know. And it was a whole series. I thought it was so cool. I remember being like, this is cool. Cleopatra seems like a badass. And as we know, she is.
She is. And I'm going to just read very, very, very quickly the last...
the line that you've been avoiding for the last 20 years.
No, just like the last two like little paragraphs in When We Were Gods by Colin Falconer, because it's just really good. This is technically the epilogue. It goes, and so it is to the Madonna that men, tired of war and anger, yet look for peace and for compassion. She is their healer and mother, a religion within a religion, older than time itself. Men and women still light their votive candles at her feet. And it is perhaps then that we glimpse her, Cleopatra, on her knees before her beloved Isis, peering back at us from behind the dark and velvet shrouds of history from a time when we were gods. It's just good. It's just good. I really like it. I read it when I was like, I don't know, 13. And I have reread it several times since. So, a book I am grateful for.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, especially when we've read books that are when we're younger, you don't have to like think. I don't want to say that we didn't think. I mean, obviously it was probably like we were immersed in it then, but you could go back on these books and be like, this, I remember why I loved this so much. Or maybe, you know, I feel like books are different than the movies because especially historical books.
I'm looking, this is a first edition and it came out in 2000. Let's see.
You want to pick from our like bowl of truth?
I do want to pick from our bowl of truth. Bowl of truth is listener questions, which thank you for submitting.
Yeah, thank you for all the responses that we had. It's really exciting. We love interacting. We love everything that's being shared, and it's just creating and continuing the dialogue. I mean, that's the whole point of like the Bookstagram, book talk, like book community. If you can keep it positive, then, you know, we can have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of our questions was, this is to you, Laura. What is your favorite Shadowhunter series so far? This listener says, like, they're assuming that you've read them all already.
Well, you're correct. I have read them all already. I will rank them for you because I have thought about this. It is The Mortal Instruments, The Last
Hour. That's your favorite one? The Mortal Instruments?
No. The Infernal Devices. Okay. What I was saying was The Mortal Instruments is not the first. Oh. But it's The Infernal Devices, The Last Hours, The Dark Artifices, The Mortal Instruments. So, and now in between all of those are the Magnus Bane Chronicles, the Ghost of the Shadow Market, Tales from Shadowhunter Academy. You know, all of the novellas are also like in there, but I can't choose a favorite of those. Although I am currently re-listening to Tales of Shadowhunter Academy.
Have you started with any of the website stuff? Remember when she made that announcement have you started that? Because I know you didn't want to keep up with like weekly. You wanted to have chunks of information at a time.
Yeah. You know, no, I haven't because I feel like that would be really fun to go through with you because the new stuff that is coming out is stuff that has to do with The Last Hours and LA.
Oh. So there's like, that's a weird crossover.
Yeah, it's not so much a crossover. I guess it is a crossover, but it's like, it's like, they're both, so like people from LA are going to a place and that place was very like important in the past. Okay. So they're like finding things and like learning and then we get those flashbacks.
Okay.
So it's very interesting. Thank you for asking Shadowhunters questions. I'm always happy to talk about Shadowhunters.
Because nobody does.
Because nobody talks about
ostracized.
Nobody talks about Shadowhunters. I'm always happy to talk about Shadowhunters. I have a book here that someone is thankful for, and I feel like it is perfect for us. It is, of course, Every Book Ever Written.
Yes.
Of course we are grateful for every book ever written, even if it's not wonderful. It is still somebody's like hard work and their effort, and it's still something that I would never do. And I love watching, participating, you know, like patronizing or no, helping. You're
thinking like Patreon.
Yes. Giving money to supporting. There you go. You know, that kind of thing. But, boy, I mean,
this goes back to like, we want to take our money. We want to support the people we want to support.
Okay, so Jess, what is a quote? Give me a quote.
Another quote is, look for the helpers. You'll always find people helping.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's Mr. Rogers. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is just beautiful. And that's true. And this is kind of in the same vein of that. I used to like wake up in the middle of the night and get like really like scared. And someone said, turn on the news, because like the news is someone like talking at you, right? And it's like other people talking, and it's like relatively live, and then it comes on live at like 5, right? So you can kind of like fill like a silence kind of with that, and it's real life. It's not like a TV show. So like
I feel like that would skip, like that's exactly why I don't watch the news, like the 10 o'clock news or something, because I don't want all, what do they say? If it bleeds, it leads. So that's the quote.
Yeah, sure.
So like, I don't want to hear all of that as I'm like drifting off to sweet dreams. I mean, which is also kind of funny because here I am with like Stabby Poppy, like kill. But
that's different. That's different. Okay, what do we have? We have a book that someone is thankful for. They are thankful for Shatter Me. Jess, did you submit this?
No, I didn't. I swear when the person submitted that, I go, yay! Because I remember telling you, I go, I don't expect you to read it, but like maybe we'll read it. We'll discuss it as a whole at some point. Who knows? Whatever. Anyway, so I remember telling you it felt like I was reading a Tamlin, Reese, Feyre, alternate universe fan fiction of them in high school, and I had so much fun with it and it was the first book, and I mean, if you haven't read it, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was the first book where I said on the first try, I go, I don't trust this person, I'm liking this other person, and you can't convince me otherwise.
And you were right.
That was right.
Yeah, you were right. Oh, that's awesome. So thank you for submitting Shatter Me. Somebody knows exactly where to hit Jess so that she's so happy. She loves that.
I have another question for you. Why are you so perfect?
Oh, this is all lies.
It's not.
Don't
let your imposter syndrome get to you.
Yeah,
Only I can
the
do
imposter
that.
syndrome is strong with this one. Thank you for submitting. That's really nice. That's really lovely. I would have to turn it around and say that everyone that is listening is amazing and wonderful and perfect and fantastic, because what are we without you? Nothing. Yeah. So thank you.
This is just like dead air, dead space, talking into the void.
Yeah. So, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see. I have 1, 2. I have 4 more.
Okay.
So I have, what's a book that you're thankful for? Just love, lots of love for ACOTAR. So much love for ACOTAR.
But like for the right reasons too. I mean, I'll take that back, because I don't want it to seem like someone's right reason negates somebody else's.
Everybody's got their own reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And everybody gets something different.
Which is like perfect. That leads into the next quote somebody is thankful for is, only you can decide what breaks you.
Oh, well, that's perfect.
I love that.
And that's true. We all need a reminder. All right, what do we have here? We have, For Blood and Ash. For Blood and Ash.
I think I have something to admit to you. I love the Folk of the Air series. I love the Cruel Prince. I love Queen of Nothing. I love the Wicked. I love all of them. It is such a comfort read to me, because I could just be in the world, and I think Judah's a badass, and I will go to the grave. I don't understand. Is it enemies to lovers? The focus should be on female empowerment and politics, and I think nobody, I don't want to say nobody, but a lot of people don't focus on that. I think I want to equate From Blood and Ash, for me, I think is like the Folk of the Air for you.
I'm wondering, is it
because of Castile? Because...
No. I'm wondering, is it the fandom and what the fandom has done with the characters, or is it the characters on the page?
I think it's a combination. It's like, remember when we were reading ACOTAR and you could love ACOTAR as itself, like the series. And then social media brought these characters to life. And we've kind of made, even though there is discussion where, especially with Azrael, about like the type of person he is, when we really, the only things we know is what's on paper. We don't know him. We've assigned personalities. Somehow, trigger warning, Moore became the alcoholic aunt. And like, sometimes I think initially when we had discussed it, I was like, she's the best friend that you always go out with. How that's transitioned in the last year. And like the fun aunt, not the, oh, we need an intervention aunt. There's a fine line there. Yes. Or like Cassian being our favorite himbo. And that's kind of solidified in Silver Flames when he's like, space is boring.
Yeah.
Knocks over globe.
I don't want to talk politics. I'm itchy and sneezy. Yeah. No, we love it. We love it.
But like, yes, and I do feel like the fandom does help and contribute to that. And I am in a couple of like Facebook specific book fandoms, the Cruel Prince being one, ACOTAR being another, and from Blood and Ash group. I know you could not care less, Laura, but I still screenshot you throughout the day, and I go, look at this funny thing. This is so funny. Like
it is funny.
And the creatively Les, she has those fun comics that you're just like, this is so cute. I love it even more.
They are the cutest. Oh my gosh. I agree. For Blood and Ash, definitely. I feel like the first one, definitely. I feel like it gets really just complicated. But I am
like the first book
as like a comfort read.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
I don't consider the first book a comfort read, but I'd consider the second book a comfort read.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Oh, good. How many quotes do you have? Let me see.
Oh, I have a whole ton. I have 4 left.
Okay. Give me one.
Okay. A quote is, never flinch, never fear, never forget. I don't know what that's from.
I don't either, but that is fantastic life lesson.
Yeah, I like some of the quote. Like, I think I love all the quotes because books impact us a different way. But I like how some people like kind of like ran with the question and made it their own and not think it had to be book related, because this is not what this episode is about. We're just kind of like, hey, thank you for being y'all. So,
and speaking of, someone, probably 1,000 million people are thankful for Throne of Glass.
Yes.
And of course, we're all thankful for Throne of Glass. We're thankful for Aelin and Rowan and Dorian and Manon. And just we're thankful for that whole world. We're thankful for world building and, you know, the payoff and the emotions and the feels, right? We're thankful for feels.
I mean, it's nice to know we have them.
Yeah.
Sometimes they could get in the way.
Yeah.
But I think that could tie into like one of my favorite quotes is, you could do anything if only you dared. And deep down, you know it too. That's what scares you most, which is like the whole like quote for the, you can rattle the stars. Right. And I got that tattooed. I think it's a wonderful reminder. So Throne of Glass is obviously because it's plot with romance, and I think it's a reminder that we all need. I'm not gonna get emotional. I'm gonna be fine.
You're gonna be fine.
I just got it on my skin permanently inked forever, and I'm so happy with that.
Okay, I have one left after this one. So this is perfect. This person is very thankful for The Hating Game.
You haven't read that. I'm the only one. I don't want to say the only one, but like of the two of us, I read the contemporary romances still. You know, I could count on one hand how many romances I've read this year since I got into fantasy.
Really?
Which is, yeah, I could count on one hand. It was Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and that's the one that I cried because there was a huge twist that I didn't even see coming. I think I read Tessa Bailey's Hook, Line, and Sinker, which is it was an arc it was the arc that I had, and it's a sequel to It Happened One Summer. I've read Friends on Vacation, or People We Meet on Vacation. Okay, maybe I wrote 6. read 6 and like 2 JLA books from like that Pennsylvania thing. I don't know what the series is called. I read it out of order because the library didn't tell me it was part of a series. So I just like pulled it out. But it was like one of those series that you could read it as a standalone and there's like all the other characters and then you can still read them as a one-off. I don't know. Anyways, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, y'all. A quote, I think if that's what we were talking about, is... Be glad for your human heart, Feyre. Pity those who don't feel anything at all.
This is true. This is true. This is true. Oh, Feyre. She's a good... she's good.
I feel like I need to do a reread of ACOTAR because right now, Aelin embraces overshadowing her because of how strong, like what strong personalities they had and how extroverted they are. And I think it's a perfect reminder of like, you don't have to be extroverted to be strong. And I think that's not talked about enough or like really discussed much.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Because I know I have my own personal like frustrations with Feyre, but she does like do the damn thing. She does.
She's the one who kept her family alive. Like, if you think about the infancy of ACOTAR, like, her family would not have survived. And part of it was out of stubbornness. We know this.
We know this. This is canon.
So it's interesting. Or, like, pride. So, like, you have to give credit to Feyre. She's like, you got to put that shit aside because there's a bigger picture here. It's always the bigger picture when we talk about stuff like this.
I agree. Let's see. This is my last one. Last one. Okay. So it is, it says Crescent City because its hype on Instagram brought me closer to the book community.
That's true.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Which I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on Crescent City, maybe because of the gap. Like, nobody wants to wait that long to be like, when did it come out? Like, May 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, I want to say, like March or May. March 3rd, 2020 was the release date. Mm-hmm. So right before the pandemic started. So usually like when a new book drops, you don't want some people will wait to see where the second book is. And now we are at the end of 2021 going into 2022. We have 5 million special editions with like extra chapters.
I also feel like the people that are very loud about how difficult how intimidating the world building is in the beginning of Crescent City. I feel like those people talk over a lot of other people and scare people off of this book. And Crescent City is really good. It's really, she's thick, she's lovely, she's full of all the things. She's an ugly cry. But I hope that because, as you say, the new one's coming out, that there's a lot of new people that come in and start to read it because it's really good.
I like it. The world building, we talk about this, is essential for a reason because it's you have to be in the right mindset of like where it takes place. I think a lot of times we're so used to fantasy being in its own world, more or less, that to have it in a more modern day or like even futuristic sort of location can be a shift, especially after her last 2 series that she had out before this.
Yeah.
But that actually... Oh, continue.
No, go.
No, I was going to say, but that like goes into a question that somebody asked is, can we have a Crescent City recap episode before the new book? And that person also said, like, y'all are the best and thank you. But that's like, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
But we definitely do. We have it marked on where when it's going to air, pending supply chain management issues, and if there's any shift in the release date. And we'll record that closer to then, just because we're going to have new information, new covers, just more exposure to it all. Right now, we do have our current Crescent City episode, which is our first. It was actually our first bookish episode.
Yep. So that's very exciting. Make sure you check that out if you are interested in Crescent City. What else do you have, Jess? Do you have any more quotes?
Oh yeah, I have 2 quotes that people have submitted. One of them being, hers was not a story of darkness,
Ooh, we love that.
But it's like, I don't know what it's from, but I think it's nice that like so often we can look, you know, we're our worst critics, you know, or we come from, you know, various lived experiences. But I feel like that quote alone just like sets up the tense of the book. Like it's not a bad story, or what she may have gone through, she kind of persevered through.
I have a quote that is one of my favorite quotes. It's from Clockwork Princess. It is when Will Herondale is talking to Magnus Bane, and Will is asking Magnus, like, how do you bear it? How do you bear loss? You know, like you've been alive so long. Like, how do you watch people die over and over and over again? And Magnus goes, there is no great secret. You endure what is unbearable and you bear it. That is all. And it's just so, it's like clear cut. It's like there's no trick. It's
very straightforward.
You live with it. You find yourself in the situation and you think you can't deal with it, but you're stronger than you think you are. You take it on, you bear it, and you move on. And, you know, I think that is just so important, because I feel like it's easy to get wrapped up in your own shit and just to be like, the world is falling, like the sky is falling, the world is ending, like everything is awful. But like, you are stronger than you think you are, and you can bear it if you know, like,
if it doesn't become all consuming.
Exactly. Right. You have to have like a support system. And of course, in this situation, Will does have a support system, even though it's like,
you're crying. Please don't.
Yeah. Okay.
I love him so much.
Okay. What is the quote? This is the last quote.
Okay. This is the quote somebody had shared with us. And it is I already like it. These men feel like the death of me, and it's always women bringing me back to life.
Oh, well, say it louder for everyone in the back.
I don't know. Like, I wish, and maybe because of like the spacing, whatever Instagram allows, but that right there, it reminds me of the TikTok. Like, what makes you think so? Women. Like, yes, it's just like Tower of Dawn. I don't read for Kale. Fuck Kale. Like, not literally, not metaphorically, like, I guess metaphorically, definitely not. I mean, I can't say that. Everybody has their own type. Yeah. Kale probably would have been mine a million years ago.
No doubt.
That's not even a lie.
No doubt. The accuracy.
I like them boring.
You like them clean cut.
It's not boring. They're just very low key.
There you go.
Maybe I don't know. I'm too wild for that type of person, but to anybody else, they're like, she's the most boring person in the world. But where are we going with that?
Do you have any more quotes, or are you finished?
Oh, there's one more quote by Madeline Miller that was submitted, and it was, I am made of memories.
And for gorgeous.
Anybody who doesn't know who Madeline Miller is, she does the Song of Achilles and Circe, and she has other Greek mythology retellings that are just very beautiful, but she's not somebody that I would recommend having on as like background. I don't want to say background noise, but like if you're trying to multitask, that's not a book that I would suggest to be multitasking with. Like, that's a book you should focus on. Even other Greek mythologies, it's just like her specific retelling. I think we get something different out of how different authors retell their stories. I mean, A Touch of Darkness and Neon Gods is a perfect example.
That is a perfect example. Questions?
Yeah, we have a couple questions. Someone asked, for both of us, curious about what our star signs are.
Oh, our star signs, Jess. Go first.
I mean, I'm a Capricorn sun, Libra moon, and Virgo rising.
I am an Aries sun, a Virgo moon, and a Capricorn rising.
So all the crying is like the Libra. I know. Like all five of the 6 signs are disgusted in me. I get that. With all my Libra crying. Like, if you hear me crying, I'm like, Libra was strong that episode. Strong day. And everyone else is just like side-eyeing me like, will this bitch not?
Those are our star signs. Thank you so much for asking.
I mean, I'm not an astrologer. I would love somebody to like break down. Like that would be really cool to understand more about your birth chart and everything. I feel like you kind of have to put it out there and whatever, take with it what you will.
Yeah, because like we're both on CoStar, so we have like our chart and stuff. But I would really love someone to like really analyze the shit out of me and like fix me. I guess
make me feel uncomfortable because I've heard people who stop listening to their like birth chart, or if someone's reading, like they feel so uncomfortable that they like put a pause in their meeting because
make me uncomfortable, make me want to leave. Yeah, I want that
because I want to be terrified that the universe knows me more than I know me.
Yeah, I want that too. Any other questions?
Someone asked what I was reading on the flight over here, and it was A Shadow in the Ember. And no, those are our questions.
Those are our questions.
Yeah. We only got a couple, but we appreciate everyone because we didn't think we'd even get like one. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So I am grateful. Of course, Jess did a very beautiful, emotional, like, thank you for everything. And of course, I was just like, more books. So here's my my thank you. I would like to say thank you to the podcast. Thank you for everybody that listening. Thank you to our amateur audio engineer for making sure that we actually did this. Like, he really was the one that was like, there's an audience for this, and you should do this. And like, you and Jess would make a really good team. So like, thank you to Sam.
And for a while, like, it was just like finding what would be right for us.
So thank you to Sam for making us do this. Thank you to the listeners who allow us to continue to do this. And of course, thank you to Jessica, the most perfect, host in the world.
No.
Without you balancing me, I would just be like, just beyond just insufferable. So thank you for making me tolerable.
I am thankful for you because we all know that I can like bring us off on a tangent, and I just think that us and our friendship in general, it's just a good, I don't even want to say yin and yang because we're not that much like, we have very similar personality traits and, things that we do differently as well. But the balancing act has been really helpful. I think that, maybe it's just my bias, but I think we had even been saying we're like, even the career paths we've chosen that are different are so similar in its foundation, especially when we apply it with what we're doing here on the podcast.
It's true. It's also very incredibly true. Oh, it's so wonderful. So thank you to everyone. It's just so great. And like, holidays are hard, right? We know this. So if you're having a hard time, like, know that you're not alone, and just remember that books are here for you no matter what, right? Like, that's the beauty of books. Like, you can escape into a book no matter what is happening. And that is just something that we should all be really like aware of, grateful for, and thankful for.
Yeah, I agree. And on top of that, I also think just finding the happiness in it, like you were saying, because I think especially this time of year, I'm sure Goodreads and other apps are going to, everybody has their own personal reading goal. And, it might feel like a competition, and that's
don't compare yourself.
Don't compare yourself, because I think that especially this time of year, like, we should be thankful that like, we read even one book, honestly, because there were years that I could honestly say I was only reading academic books. So when it got to actually reading something, I just didn't. I would just prefer binge watching something visually. And I think, just being thankful in any capacity. And I think for next year, I saw somebody else do this. They put their reading goal at 0. So like, any read is like an accomplishment. And I think as much as I want to challenge myself, I think the podcast does that alone, but to not have that external pressures that comes with a reading community, whether it be Book Talk or Bookstagram or your book club, I think that is just a different way to like self-monitor and like not feel like you need to compare yourself.
That is beautifully said. And of course, everyone knows my issues with Goodreads and the September, the monthly wrap ups and the goals. I hate all of that because I'm a naturally competitive person. So I actively try to take competition out of my life because it makes me a horrible person.
Were you that person? Because I'm guilty of, like, if I was on an elliptical or something next to somebody and then I would see how fast they're going, and maybe this is just like trigger warning, unhealthy eating stuff. But then I see them like going at a certain pace and at a certain incline and they burned X amount of calories. So then I would in my head say, well, I need to do more than that person.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Okay, well, good, because I did. And that's awful.
Do you know why? Because I knew myself well enough to only go to the gym at a time where I knew that it would be dead and there wouldn't be anybody on the cardio equipment, because I had done the work about myself and I knew that I would do that, which is also an aside on why, and this is an interesting fact for somebody, my husband eats dinner very quickly. And a lot of my ex-boyfriends actually have also eaten very quickly. That's a military thing. So to make sure that I don't overeat and eat too fast, I eat with chopsticks so that it is very slow and I can control everything, so I don't match pace. And that is just another example of I know that I would do that. So I actively put blockers in my way to make sure that that doesn't happen.
I didn't know that I knew part of that was to pace yourself, but I didn't realize the competitive aspect to it.
Yeah. Because I am naturally just horrifically competitive. So I remove it from myself because it makes me an awful person.
I just want to be, here's the thing, I want to, if we were ever to do, how you have those, especially when we did Greek life, you had against the other, the other teams and, the other sororities and fraternities or what have you. I would want to be on a team with you. I know that's not your best quality. You think that's not your best quality. I think it's survival of the fittest.
Well, I would make myself the leader in that situation. And I would dictate to everybody what to do. That's the Aries in me. Yeah. That is the Aries, the Virgo, and the Capricorn.
And the Capricorn. I think because I don't have the third, I think my Libra is I will happily, subserviently be your beta on the team. Be your second in command. That's fine. Because even when, you're always you're going to take over, where you work. And I'm I don't want that responsibility. As long as I always have one person above me to
help.
Yeah. Help, I'm fine with that. Because I think a bigger picture of what if I was a CEO of a company and I had to be the I know I have a whole team of CFOs and everything, but that's a lot of pressure that you hold in that position. To people depend on you. Your livelihoods rely on you. I need to pass the buck at least one person up. Oh, have you talked to Laura about that? Ooh, let me check her schedule. Actually, she's not available for you ever.
It's amazing, but also, that's growth, right? That's growth. That's growth. That's what that is.
I recognize that. We all recognize. The more growth you do on yourself, honestly, even if you have to passive aggressively laugh at yourself because that kind of makes it lighter for you, so be it. But it's growth nonetheless, and it's fun. It's fun to get to discover yourself.
It is. It is very fun to get to discover yourself. So because Jess is here with me, I have loaned her a copy of Daughters of the Moon, number 1 by Lynn Ewing. And she is going to read that. I think I made a TikTok of it. No, I didn't make a TikTok of it.
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah. I have ordered 1 through 13. They are all first editions. They came in pretty good condition for being over 20 years old. And Jess is going to read the first one because she picked it up, looked at the cover, flipped it over, read the back and said, can I read this?
And I think that also goes something. I think that also says something about the back of a book. If you have a strong synopsis, you and I were talking about this earlier. A lot of times now I see books with there's no synopsis. I just look at the back of the cover. I just look at the back cover and think, okay, these are just what a bunch of other authors think. And most of the time, not saying all of the time, a lot of those authors are their friends in the book community. So I just don't think your friend is going to shit on you publicly. Like if they have feedback, like constructive criticism, like they're going to one-off you kind of thing. And okay, that's great. This other person thinks it's, and this goes back to the Goodreads of it all too. Like somebody could think it's the best book ever. Somebody else it might not be there for you. So having a strong synopsis is going to let you determine if you're going to like it or not, instead of like having that extra. But this goes back to like the conversations we've had regarding critics and their own opinions. Like, okay, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Some people just make a career out of it.
So obviously you can tell that we have opinions about these things. And these are all like ideas that we're kind of like brewing for future episodes. So if you have heard something in this episode that you think like, I would really like to hear more about that, get into our DMs. Like, let us know. We have our episodes like planned out, but again, if
for like the rest of 2021.
Yeah. But like, if you are interested in something like, or if any of the books that like Jess or I mentioned that we're thankful for, like you haven't heard of and you want to hear more of that, or like any of that, let us know. Let's continue this conversation, because like holidays are hard. So let's really, pull closer to each other, right? Let's be our own family.
I like that. And everybody's definition of family can be different.
Exactly.
I think that's an important thing to remember.
Yes, exactly. And we are honored and happy and just so humbled to be able to call y'all friends and like hang out with y'all. So thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. Happy, even though we're releasing this for the week of Thanksgiving, it's like, I know it's cliche and cheesy, but every day we should be thankful. Like, why does it have to be one designated day? So thank y'all all the time, not just this week. Thanks for listening. You could always follow us on Instagram, ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. And feel free, if you're feeling thankful, to leave us a review on wherever we're streaming that allows reviews. Right now it's still like Apple Podcasts. So
well, thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.